I was the friend, like a dude would come up to me like, "What's up, ma?" You know, I'd be like, "Nothing." And he'll be like, "Yo, what's up with your friend?" I was that friend. Well, hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. And if this is your first time joining me, it is simply welcome to my channel. I'm Rochelle, and today we're gonna do things a little bit different. I'm gonna be telling y'all all my business. We're actually gonna talk about my body transformation as well as my weight loss journey. So if you guys wanna see how I transformed my body as well as how I lost 100 pounds, then keep on watching. All right, so basically I've always struggled with my weight, but it didn't really become an issue until I went off to college. So as soon as I graduated from high school, I went off to college. I went to the illustrious PVAMU. So of course everybody knows that I went to Prairie View, but anyway, so when I went off to college, I didn't have to worry about things like portion control, what I could eat, what I couldn't eat. At home, my mom did not buy a lot of sweets. She didn't buy a lot of cookies, candy. Like my mom just didn't buy stuff like that because she knew, like, if she my mom knew if she bought stuff like that, it was going to be gone probably within a day. So when I went off to college, I had free reign. So I was able to have access to things that we just didn't have at home. So we had this thing down at Prairie View. It was called the Alumni Hall. So we would go to the Alumni Hall, and they would cook in there like every Tuesday. They had fried fish. It was just always something good on the menu. And so the way that it was at Prairie View, it was like you could have as many servings as you wanted. So really, you know, you didn't have to have portion control. And so when I got down to school, I lost it because it was like I was able to have access to eat whatever I wanted. They used to have this huge like pastry, literally like a buffet. So just imagine a buffet with just pastries on it. I'm talking about chocolate chip cookies, donuts, slices of cake. They had ice cream machines. I'm talking about they had everything that you could imagine at the Alumni Hall, and there was no limit. So not only was I eating like large portions of food at the Alumni, I was sneaking, me and my friends, we would sneak in our backpacks, you know, in there, and we would just take food back to the room. So not only are you consuming all these calories while you're at dinner, you know, a little later on in the night, because I think the Alumni used to close like at 7. And so we would probably make it to dinner maybe about 4 and just hang out, you know. So we would go in there, eat, steal food, go hang out in front of the Alumni Hall. And then later on in the night, you know, you start getting the munchies or you start getting hungry again, you know, you go and you go in your little stash. Okay, so that became a habit. And not only did we have that, we used to also have this place called PV Grocery. And baby, when I tell you, they used to make the best fried fish sandwiches. Girl, y'all, I literally I would be looking for stuff in my dorm room to pawn, because I was a broke college kid, right? So I would be looking for stuff that I could take to the pawn shop to get money just to get a fish sandwich. I just had access to all types of stuff that I just didn't have access to. And then to add insult to injury, my best friend in college, I would go home with her on the weekends, and her mom would, not only would her mom cook, but her mom would cook like 3 different meats. It was like her mom, it would look, okay, so if y'all ever been to Luby's or to like a Piccadilly's or like a cafeteria style restaurant, just imagine going to somebody's house and their mama cook like that every single day. So her mama would cook like 2 or 3 different kind of meats, some type of poultry, like a fish or a chicken, or like I'm talking about the 10 different sides, and it was literally like the house was like Luby's. So just imagine like spending the night at Luby's or a cafeteria style with amazing food the whole weekend. And so, and then not only that, she would have dessert. I did gain the freshman 15, but I still felt like I looked good. I was still, you know, fine. You know, I was still fine and still able to wear my little thrift store outfits, my little double polyester outfits and stuff like that. But I do remember just you know, always struggling and always wanting to be smaller. So me and my friend, we found out about like these weight loss clinics. So I started dabbing into diet pills. Now this was while I was still in college. So we would go to the diet doctor and he would give us like fen and these like water pills or whatever. And so we would drop the weight. I would drop the weight really, really fast. But the problem was, like, I dropped the weight, but it always brought back friends. So yeah, I dropped the freshman 15, but the freshman 15 would come back, and then the freshman 15 would come back and bring 10 friends with them. So it would really be like 25 pounds. And so this happened all throughout basically my whole time in college. Well, then when I started seeing that you know, I wasn't able to maintain my weight while, you know, kind of, you know, playing around with diet pills, I ain't gonna lie, I called up the twins and I was like, now if you guys are wondering, I'm not, because I know that this is a serious topic. I also know that this can be a trigger warning, and I'm not making light of the subject, but I'm just telling you my story, my point of view, along with just how I deliver things. So when I say I had to call up the twins, I'm referring to anorexia and bulimia, and I just want to put this disclaimer out. I am in no way making fun of or making light of anorexia and bulimia, nor am I glamorizing it. But again, this is my story, and these are the things and tactics that I used to lose weight. And so I digress. Let me get back on track. So then I started kind of doing, like I said, calling up the twins. And so, you know, I would either starve myself or I would start taking laxatives to help me lose weight. And then I just found that to be a more, you know, it was a more, I guess at the time for me, a feasible tactic, meaning that when I would try these things, I would see massive weight loss. Well, I think in my junior year, or maybe, yeah, I want to say in my junior year, I decided that I wanted to sit a semester out of school and just come home and work. When I came home from college, like I was saying, I ended up working in retail. In retail, I didn't have a car, I didn't know how to drive, so I was walking to and from the bus stop, from work to the bus stop, vice versa. I worked with a lot of ladies who were very weight conscious, who, you know, they was just very conscious about their weight. And so I kind of adapted those habits or whatever, so I really didn't have any struggles. But then I ended up working, like I ended up getting recruited for a telecommunications company. Well, that's when it all went downhill. So working in a call center environment, the management team, they might not be nice to you. You know, people might not be nice to you working in a call center, but one thing they're gonna do is feed you. I actually ended up falling back into some of those really bad habits of just eating. But this time it was worse because I was able to, I had my own apartment at this point, and so I would just like buy all of these snacks when I would go to the grocery store. Because I didn't have a car, I would take a cab to the grocery store. You know, if you know about that cab life, you want to take one cab there and one back. You don't want to have to keep going back and forth to the store. Baby, when I tell y'all, I used to be at the grocery store, I used to be having ho-hos, ding-dongs, Oreos, you name it, I had it. I'm talking about M&M's, Twix, Rice Krispie treats, you know, I'm talking gumdrops, lollipops,
greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, ram, pork, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, chicken, turkey,
all of the junk. Now I was out of control, and so the weight started, and the weight came fast and furious, baby.
More do you want from me?
Well, I remember at one point I had gotten up to 205 pounds, 205 pounds. And so I knew at the time, like, I didn't want to go back and you know, start messing with the laxatives, and I ain't want to call the twins again. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I don't too much want to fool with them twins no more. So what I ended up doing was finding a diet doctor. I found another diet doctor, and I went to this diet doctor, and I got some diet pills. Well, yeah, I did end up losing the weight. I think I lost like 35 pounds. I was working out. I was in the gym. Baby, I was back shopping at Forever 21, you know, feeling real good about myself or whatever. And so that lasted for a while. Then I fell off. Well, and then it didn't help that we was at the call center, and every time you look up, it was barbecue. It was cake. It was so much food, and then to add that, y'all know the worst. It's like sometimes the worst jobs have the best co-workers. And so I met some of my best friends working at Primeco. And so what we would do, like my best friend, she's still my best friend to this day, she would call me and she would be like, bro, don't bring your lunch tomorrow. I'm bringing you lunch. But see, here's the problem. My friend is from New York. And if it's anyone out there from New York, y'all don't eat as much as we do in the South. And so when she would, like, her portion size was probably a real portion size of what you really should have. Well, she would come to work and have these little baby portions of food, and I'm like, what? Like, baby, what am I gonna do with this? So not only would I eat what she would bring me, I would like, because, you know, my friend is Panamanian, so she would be cooking it. She's Panamanian, she from New York, she grew up around Jamaicans, I mean, and then everybody was Dominican. I mean, so, you know, she's multicultural, so she would literally be able to cook anything, but what she specialized in was cooking Caribbean food, mostly Jamaican food, peas and rice, jerk chicken, plantains, you know. So she would bring me a plate of food. And again, like I said, the portion sizes would be so small to me. They would be small. It would literally be, to me, what I would feel like when she would bring them little baby plates, and I'd be like, baby, are you trying to give a whale a Tic Tac or what? It was literally like giving a whale a Tic Tac. So what I would do, I would eat the food that she gave me or whatever, and she don't know this to this day. So I would eat the little food that she gave me. She'd be like, it wasn't good, bro. Was it good? And I was like, girl, yeah. And so, you know, the lunch would be over, baby. I'm gonna be real honest with you. I used to take and put them customers on hold, and I would sneak down to the cafeteria, baby. I would sneak down there, and I would give me some nachos, some ho-hos, some ding-dongs, fried fish, whatever, because I would still be hungry. It just was not enough food to satisfy my appetite. And then on top of that, when I would get off of work, I would go home and cook. And so it was just like my whole, at that point, I still love fashion or whatever, but it just felt like food just became so much more important to me. And so I would just eat and eat and eat. And then the depression set in. So I ended up just getting like really, really depressed. I mean, because it was like working in a call center, you constantly have people that's messing with you at the call center. If it's not management, it's people that's monitoring your call, and it's like you thinking you did good on a call, and you got somebody, Michelle, we need to talk to you about that last call. I mean, because it was always something. And then me being I'm an overachiever, and unfortunately I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, and so it's like I always want to do well. So the minute I'm being like, like someone's like, oh, well, you didn't do this or you didn't do that, it really does impact me deeply. And so it's like, I don't like, it gives me a sense of failure. And so the way that I would cope with constantly like, oh, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, the way that I would cope with that is just simply through eating. And so, you know, my eating habits were just out of control. I ended up working in the call center life for like 11 years. In 11 years, by the time I left the call center, I think I might have been about 210 pounds. So by the time I left the call center, I had gotten a car, you know, and not only had I gotten a car, I was like, you know what, baby, you gonna pay me for my pain. So before I left Verizon Wireless, I ended up getting a tummy tuck. Yes, you heard it here first. Verizon was giving away. Verizon was paying for tummy tucks. Verizon Wireless was paying for tummy tucks when I worked there. So me not being educated as I am now, me not having the knowledge and the knowledge that we have now in regards to, you know, understanding weight loss, I just thought the tummy tuck was gonna absolutely, positively fix everything. And wait a minute. Hold on for a minute, y'all. I'm getting a phone call on my iPad. Hello. All right. Sorry. Excuse me. Sorry about that. At some point, I decided, you know what? I want to go back to school. So I ended up going back to school after all of those years of leaving Prairie View. But let me tell you this. By the time I went back to school, I was working at AT&T, and at the time, I think I was weighing like 235 pounds. So I had gained so much weight over the years of just taking diet pills, binge eating. And that was another thing I was doing. I was doing a lot of binge eating. And so it was just, my weight had just gotten out of hand. I just didn't know what else to do. It had gotten so bad to like, I would be embarrassed. Like I would go grocery shopping and I would just be so embarrassed to just buy like ice cream and stuff. Like in the past, I didn't care. I'd go to the grocery store, I'd get in a cab, go to the grocery store, get whatever I wanted. Well then, of course, years down the line, at this point, I have a car, I can just kind of move the way I want to move. And I would go grocery shopping, but I was just was so heavy or just so embarrassed. Like so what I would do, I would go to Walmart and I would just buy, like the healthy stuff or the basics. But when it would be time to buy all of the bad stuff, like I was saying, the ho-hos, the ding-dongs, and the Oreos, and the ice cream and stuff, I would just go to like 7-Eleven. I would go to like smaller convenience stores because I just didn't want anyone judging me. And then another thing that I was doing at night, like I would want to go, it would be like 10 o'clock at night. And then I would be like, oh, I want some Shipley's donuts. And so in my mind, I would be like, okay. Because at this time, I lived around the corner from Shipley's, PF Chang's, Whataburger, Cane's, KFC, Schlotsky's, Arby's, Subway, Church's, Popeyes, Burger King. I would make sure that there was no one outside. And what I would do is go like get the biggest purse I had, and I would just at home I would be like, oh, I'm just gonna get 3 donuts. Well, by the time I left my house and got the Shipley's donuts, the 3 donuts would turn into 6 donuts. And then I would be like, well shit, I'm already finna eat 6 donuts. I might as well stop and get me something from, Cane's. And then and before I knew it, I had stopped at 2, 3, 4 restaurants. Well, I'm not gonna say 4, I'm gonna say 3, max 3. It would be times where I would order a pizza, or I would go pick a pizza up, and then I would stop somewhere and I would get ice cream. Then I would stop somewhere else and get something else. And then to add insult to injury, I would be like, well, let me get a salad. So I would eat all of this junk food and then be like, let me get a salad. So anyway, all of this while still working at AT&T. So I ended up gaining, I was pretty big, but again, the biggest that I had gotten was 235. And so I had these bad eating habits while working at AT&T, but AT&T is kind of what changed the game. Number one, going to work at AT&T. When I went to work there, the girls that worked at AT&T, honey, the girls was cold-blooded. It literally looked like all of the girls that worked at AT&T, it looked like they was video vixens. And then here I come. You know what I'm saying? And I was cute or whatever, but I didn't look like them. And so we all worked in sales. And it is unfortunate because of the neighborhood we worked in and the clientele we had, they was making money. And I'm not implying that they were making money because they were physically attractive, but that did help. Now, they were extremely knowledgeable. They were very knowledgeable about the products and the services. They were very competent. And so that helped them with sales. But I'm gonna be honest, I do feel like the way that they looked helped them with sales too. And I ain't gonna lie, when I got up in there and I seen how they looked, I was like, and then wait a minute, it would be, these girls would have like all of the big time celebrity football players coming in there buying telephones and stuff from them. The baseball players coming in there, tycoons, like big time real estate tycoons, and then big time guys who worked in oil and gas, and this was their clientele. And meanwhile, my little clientele was people who was just buying little prepaid phones or coming in there like, yeah, I just want to add some minutes to my phone. And then I was like, man, like I wanted to get some. I was like, I want some of that money. I'm not gonna lie. I did. I was like, cause I wanted to make the sales that they was making. And then I'm gonna be honest, like, I wanted the kind of attention and recognition that they were getting from these celebrities and these athletes. And, you know, I wanted that, but then I didn't. You know, I was just the girl that was friendly and safe, and I knew the products, and I was gonna sell you something. I wasn't gonna push too hard. I was just gonna sell you something, and you was gonna buy it, and you was gonna put some minutes on your little prepaid. Meanwhile, they over here closing big deals. I'm talking about they cashing Trump checks, like Nene said. They cashing Trump checks, and I'm over here cashing, you know, food stamp checks. You know what I'm saying? Like, my little baby checks were nothing compared to the money they was bringing in. I'm talking about, you know, I was cashing, while they was cashing Trump checks, I was cashing government cheese checks, in other words. And so I was like, damn, like, I had never seen in real life that like that. Like, I had read about stuff like, you know, people preferential treatment over people that are more attractive, but I've never been physically lived in that realm. And so I would like see my coworkers getting all of these sales, getting all of this money, dudes bringing them like free stuff, purses, lunch, just all types of stuff. And then meanwhile, I'm just there, you know, I'm just there, you know, making my little prepaid sales. And so, you know, it would bother me, but then I was also focused on school. But I ain't gonna lie, I wanted to look like them. I wanted the attention like they, oh, and another thing too, y'all, they would get invited to like all of this nice stuff. Like all of these upscale clients would like invite them to like all of this stuff. And I would be like, damn, like, you know, I wanted to, you know, I wanted to be invited to stuff like that, but I was, you know, I just was never invited to that type of stuff. So I'm not gonna lie, it did make me feel like some type of way. So anyway, I just continued to focus on school. You know, because I was driving back and forth to PB and stuff like that or whatever. So I just continued to focus on school. And I just remember, like, I don't know why I'm getting emotional. Okay, I'm back. All right, I have never really talked this candid about this. So it is, I didn't realize I still had those emotions, and I didn't realize that this stuff, you know, that there is still a little bit of pain there, you know. So anyway, so like I was saying, you know, they would get invited to all of these nice things, and, you know, it did bother me, but you know, I just focused on school. You know, I knew that I had a goal. I just remember one morning waking up, getting dressed to go, you know, to go to class or whatever. And I just remember putting on, at the time I was wearing like, well, I thought I was wearing a size 20. Well, I remember waking up one morning and going to put on my favorite pair of jeans, and it was a size 20. And I just remember putting the jeans on and they would not fit. Well, I didn't have time to try to figure something else out, and I just remember like taking a rubber band and looping so I took a rubber band and I latched it around the opening of the pants, and then I just latched it around the belt. And I just remember going to school that day, driving to Prairie View with like literally like a big industrial sized rubber band holding my jeans together. And I was like, man, like this ain't it. So I went to class and stuff like that, but that morning was the defining morning, waking up and saying, man, I'm tired of this. Like, I was tired of it. Like, I was so sick of being like that, and I just didn't know what else to do, because I just felt like I was dieting, you know. Sometimes I was working out, it just seemed like nothing ever stuck. Me, y'all, I forgot to tell y'all, I had did Weight Watchers, diet pills, the twins. I mean, it just felt like, you know, I had hired a personal trainer. She gave me an eating plan. It just seemed like I had tried everything under the sun and just nothing worked. And waking up that morning, I was just so sick and tired of looking like that, or just struggling with my weight. So what I ended up doing was I just, you know, I just started praying. I'm gonna be honest, like I just started praying and praying and praying. And then I remember at the time I saved up $4,500. I was gonna take that $4,500 and I was gonna get lipo, because remember I had already had a tummy tuck, so I was gonna go get lipo, and I just knew that that was gonna be the answer to my prayers. Well, I still was praying about it and stuff, because it's still, my weight just really bothered me. Well, I'm at work one day and I end up meeting this lady. Well, this lady comes in or whatever, y'all, she was beautiful, man. Like, oh my God, this lady was so, I don't know, she just looked like an angel to me. She just looked like, you know how like, she just looked like an old pageant queen, like a very Hollywood, like pageant type of, her teeth was perfect, her body was nice. I mean, she was a really nice looking lady. To me, she did kind of put me in the mind of like white Beyonce. But I mean, I guess I guess like a white Tina Knowles, like kind of like she reminded me of Beyonce's mama or whatever, or Beyonce. She was just so gracious and graceful, and she just talked with like this real deep southern drawl or whatever. So anyway, I was helping her set her phone up, and I don't know how we started talking about weight and stuff. And she was like, yes, I'm an international bariatric consultant. And I'm like, bariatrics? And I had never even heard that word. I was like, what that means? She take old people on international trips? What that mean? Like, I didn't know at the time what that meant. So then, of course, I asked her, but in my most intelligent way. I was like, well, what exactly is that? I had to turn it on, you know. So anyway, she was like, well, I help people get weight loss surgery, but I take them to Mexico. So I was like, you take them to Mexico? She was like, yeah. And then I was like, well, basically I was feeling all good about myself, and I was like, oh, well, I'm going to have lipo. And that lady was like, she looked me dead in the face. And that lady was like, honey, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, but you really, if you're gonna go have liposuction, you need to at least lose 50 pounds before you go have liposuction. And I was like, now say what now? Like, I was like, that's rude. You know, I was thinking it was rude, but for some reason I was not offended. I was not offended. I was just like, Like the fact that she didn't look me in my face and told me I needed to lose 50 pounds. So then after she said, you need to lose 50 pounds, and she was like, or you need to consider a longer term weight loss remedy. And I was like, what? I was thinking to myself, like, what shit, Dexatrim? So anyway, I ain't say that, but I was thinking it, because I was like, well, ain't nothing else work. So she was like, no, have you ever heard of a VSG, which is a vertical sleeve gastrectomy? And I was like, no, I haven't. And so she was like, well, I can, you know, I help people coordinate and go to Mexico to have this procedure done. So I was like, okay, cool. So she was like, I tell you what, I'm gonna give you my phone number, and you call me, and you know, make sure you call me or whatever on Monday. I'll give you, because at this point it might have been a Thursday. She's like, I'm gonna give you until Monday to do the research. Oh no, she said I'm gonna give you till Monday to do the research, and then Monday at 9 o'clock in the morning, I'm gonna call you and I'm gonna see what you think. And I said, okay, that's cool. I went home and I started doing research. I was on YouTube, be on YouTube like all day, just looking up all of this stuff about this surgery. Long story short, she called me and she was like, you know, we talked about it. And so she was like, well, the surgery is $4,500, but you have to put down a $500 deposit. Well, like I said, I had already had the money saved up for my lipo. So I put the money down, and then my scheduled date was April the 13th. So finally the time comes for me to get the surgery. I go to Mexico. You know, of course, I get off the plane. You literally get off the plane and go straight to the hospital where you're gonna have the surgery. So I have the procedure done or whatever, but the thing is, in Mexico, the way that they was explaining the surgery to me, they were like, oh, it ain't no big deal. It's kind of like a cosmetic procedure, because at the time they looked at a VSG as a cosmetic procedure. So anyway, I was like, okay, cool. They was like, oh, you can go back to eating however you want and all of this kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, that's good. Well, they didn't lie that you can go back to eating the way you want to, but what they forgot to say was after about 7 years, you can go back to eating the way that you want to. So long story short, I had the surgery, I came home, and when I came home and I realized that I was not going to be able to like sneak and go. Like, remember I was telling y'all I would take my big old purse, I would go to Shipley's, Cane's, Whataburger, wherever, put all of that food in my purse so my neighbors wouldn't see it when I would come back to the house. And I would sneak all of that food back in my house and I would eat it all. And you know, then out, like literally, I'm kind of backtracking a little bit, but I forgot to say this. I would eat so much till I got to the point where after I would eat, I would just cry. I would just cry because I was like, I needed help so bad. I just knew like I was gonna end up being on my 600-pound life. So anyway, ended up having the surgery. They told me I could go back to eating the way I wanted to, and I took that literally. So I hadn't really processed what they meant, like, oh, you're gonna be able to go back to eat the way that you want after a long periodically time. After a long periodically time, you'll be able to eat the way you want to. So I took that literally, because sometimes I'm left-handed, and if y'all out there left-handed, y'all know sometimes we be taking stuff literally. So anyway, I ended up coming back to Houston or whatever, and this is when it all, you know, everything just went crazy, because it was like I started grieving the loss of food. And I did not know you can grieve food the way that you grieve the loss of a loved one, or the way that you grieve the loss of a relationship. I literally just started grieving the loss of food when I came back, because I wasn't able to eat the way that I wanted to eat. And I just remember I started doing stuff to like sabotage my surgery. So I knew I wasn't supposed to be eating that Taco Bell and all of that kind of stuff. And I was still like mentally, in my mind, I could still eat that type of stuff, even though physically I could not. And so I was still going to Taco Bell. I was still going to all of these different places. And I kept getting extremely sick, so much so that I came back home, I went back to work, and I got really sick at work, and they had to send me home, and I couldn't go back to work for probably like 6 weeks. So I remember going to my doctor, and my doctor saying, you need to make up your mind. You did not, because he was so pissed off because I had snuck to another country and got this surgery. He was like, why did you go have this stupid surgery? And then I just started crying or whatever. Because at this point, like in Mexico, they give you enough information, but it's up to you as an adult over the age of 18 to really understand what you're getting into. And it just wasn't enough research out there. And I mentally just wasn't prepared. I don't know what I was thinking, y'all. I don't know. I was like, I'm gonna go have this surgery and I'm gonna come back fine. Well, you know, I didn't think about the work I had to put into it. So basically he was like, you did it already. You did this stupid surgery. Now you gotta make up your mind. And it's like something snapped in me once he said that. So once he said, now you need to make up your mind, I made up my mind. And so at that point, I started like researching vitamins I could take. I started taking protein pills, and y'all, I started drinking protein shakes, taking multivitamins, just doing everything. I was taking biotin, just doing everything I needed to do to really be successful with this surgery. And it just seemed like once, cause mind you, my weight had just stopped. Like when I got back, I was losing it, but then it just stopped. And it was like mentally, because I was still sabotaging myself. And then too, there was a part of me was like, this surgery ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work. But anyway, baby, the weight started coming off. When once my doctor talked to me and I made up my mind and I started doing the right thing, the pounds started to fall off. And so I ended up losing the weight. I think I had the surgery in April 2013. By December 2013, y'all, I had literally lost 100 pounds. So I started my surgery journey off at 235. By December of 2013, I was 135. And that was the smallest I had ever been. And I'm gonna insert pictures of my journey throughout the way or whatever. So I was 235 pounds or 234 pounds. I had lost 100 pounds. Well, baby, life was jumping. At the time, you know, I was still working at AT&T, as I was on my way to my weight loss journey, my sales had increased. I was getting a better clientele. I was getting invited to more stuff. life was just so fun because I had a chance to get on the other side of being really, really heavy and being like the girl who comes to the club with you, but all I do is sit there and watch your purse and your drinks and stuff. Oh, I was a safe friend. Like I was the one who watched your purse and watched the drinks and the purses while you go out and dance. I would just be the one, you know, sitting at the table or whatever, you know. Or I was the friend, like a dude would come up to me like, "What's up, ma?" You know, I'd be like, "Nothing," and he'll be like, "Yo, what's up with your friend?" I was that friend. And so anyway, it was a trip. So I then got a chance to get on the other side. So I got on the other side of, like, now all of a sudden I was like the hot chick. I was one of the hot girls in town, you know what I'm saying? And so nobody really prepared me for what life was going to be like on the other side of being, you know, going from being extremely heavy to being really, really thin. They didn't prepare me for the attention and stuff like that. Well, when you go from being really, really heavy for a long amount of time to being small, nobody prepares you for what comes with being smaller. Like when you dating and stuff like that, when you going from a big girl, at least as a big girl, when I would date guys, I would know that they were genuinely interested in me. Whereas when I got to the other side and I was smaller, I was dating guys who just maybe wanted arm candy, something on their arm. They didn't want anything significant. They just wanted, you know, a bad girl, I guess. And so they didn't, the kind of guys, even though to me at the time, I know this ain't true now, but at the time I was like, I felt that I was attracting a better caliber of guy. Well, really, I was just attracting a more shallow guy. The kind of guys I was attracting, they only cared about my looks. They didn't give a damn that I was like a secret undercover nerd, because I am. They didn't care that I was smart, esteemed, successful, achieved. They didn't care about any of that. All they cared about is what I looked like. So they really were not interested in having any type of intellectual conversations or anything. So it just wasn't any fulfillment. And then I just remember feeling like, dude, like I went and had this surgery. I worked to get to the other side, to be this small. You know, all of this stuff. And then it's not even what I thought it was going to be. So anyway, you know, as time progressed or whatever, I just got used to being small. Well, then at some point, you know, after losing all of that weight, my weight just kind of leveled out. So everything just kind of leveled out, and my weight leveled out at about 155. Once my weight leveled out, I just saw all of the, you know, all of the I'm not gonna say damages, but the results of massive weight loss. The results of it is a beautiful thing to lose weight, but the toll that what you're left with, let me just say this, basically all I wanted to do after losing that amount of weight and just looking at myself once my body had kind of balanced out, all I wanted to do was put Humpty Dumpty back together again. You know what I'm saying? And so at this point, I started really heavily considering going to have like lipo, plastic surgery and stuff like that or whatever. So I started doing my research. So I decided that I wanted my boobs done, and I decided that I wanted you know, my volume put back into my butt or whatever. So then I did all the research. I kept researching a lot of doctors online, YouTube and stuff like that. I ended up choosing this doctor in the DR, Dr. Almonte, Fatima Almonte. And so I went to her. I didn't end up getting my boobs done because she's a very safe doctor and she wants to do what's best for you. So I ended up getting a thigh lift and lipo and a small, like a BBL, because I did not have a lot of fat. So I ended up getting all of that done, and I was happy. You know, I had went through a huge transformation, and then my body was back, you know, was you know, had another shape to it and stuff, and so I was pretty happy. And then a couple of years later, I ended up going back to the DR, and I ended up getting I had to get a BBL revision because I had so much scar tissue and stuff, and then I wanted just a little bit more volume in certain places of my butt that I was not able to achieve the first time because I didn't have enough fat. So I went back a second time, and I went to Dr. Infuente, and she did an amazing job. So I went back the second time. So the first time I got a BBL and a thigh lift. The second time, well, BBL lipo and a thigh lift. The second time I went back, I ended up getting my breast done, and I ended up getting a BBL revision and scar tissue removal. And so I was happy with you know, my results. It's been a long journey, you know what I'm saying? And so now that I am completely on the other side, I'm completely transformed. You know, I do eat a lot differently. I don't have a choice, because now, you know, you have portion control that you know, that man-made, but portion control nevertheless. So I still can't eat large consumptions of food. It's still a lot of different foods I can't have. And then too, you know, I just try to also be really cognizant of the things that I eat. I try to have a decent diet. Now, don't get me wrong, I still eat bad stuff or whatever here and there, but I know how to balance it out. I don't exercise as much. I was hiking, but then it got too hot outside, so I stopped. But yeah, so it's been a lot of ups and downs, a lot of you know, it's been a long journey, and I'm complete, and I made it to the other side. But I just wanted to make this video to share my journey with you guys. I absolutely had some medical intervention, and I am a big proponent of listen, if you need help, get help. I needed help. I needed a medical intervention, and I am so thankful. And I thank God for his grace and for his mercy for, you know, putting that lady in my path to tell me about this surgery. I'm sorry I'm getting emotional, but that lady, God and that lady, that changed my life. Because had I not had that weight loss surgery, I don't know where I would be. And you know, I hate to admit it, but a lot of doors have opened for me since I've been on the other side. Now, don't get me wrong, I have always been celebrated and you know, celebrated for my smarts. I've always been awarded for my smarts. But it's just, I think I'm emotional because it is sad that, you know, it's so many of us out there. We have so much to offer in terms of just being able to be, you know, influencers, not just a contributor, not just go into an organization or go into a situation and contribute. You're able to influence, and because you don't look a certain way, you don't get opportunities. And it's hard enough, you know, as it is, being a woman, and you know, sometimes being a black woman. And so then you add people judging you because of your weight on top of that, and then you lose the weight and you get to the other side, and then all of a sudden all of these doors have opened. You getting, you know, jobs that I'm not gonna say I wasn't qualified for opportunities, but it's been a lot of doors. And I know that that's just God. I can just look at it, instead of me looking at it like, oh, you know, they choosing me because I look a certain way. I know that I can look at it as if it's God's favor. But I am great. Like I was saying, I am so grateful for God's grace and mercy. But it does make me emotional that these doors that were open for me were not opened when, you know, when I was heavier. So I know I said a mouthful. I know that this has been a long video. I know I done took y'all on some emotional ups and downs. I know I done got emotional because I have not talked about this stuff in depth. But I just want to say this. You know, if you are struggling with your weight and you're considering medical intervention, I'm absolutely positively going to encourage it. I would just say, you know, do your research. If you have lost a substantial amount of weight, or if you've had a baby and you want to get your body done, I am definitely, again, a proponent of that. Just do your research and make sure that you have the best doctor for your body type. But more importantly, before you guys elect to have weight loss surgery and cosmetic surgery, just know that these procedures, they come with a lot of amazing things, but they come with their ups and downs as well. You know, these surgeries do open your eyes to a lot of things. People will view you differently. You will get a lot of attention. You're gonna get a lot of attention that you're not used to, and I don't know how you'll handle that. Before you guys do any type of elective weight loss surgeries, if there is something broken in you, when you get the surgery, that's whatever that is still gonna be broken after you have the surgery. So if it's broke before the surgery and you don't get treated or therapy, it's gonna be broke after the surgery. Yes, the world is gonna treat you different and receive you in a different way, but you know, and it may be, you may receive that well, or you may be, because my take on it, I'm bittersweet. I'm happy because, yeah, doors are open, but it does make me sad because I know that there are so many women and girls out there who look just like I used to look, who are more than capable, more than a conqueror, more than achieved, more than, you know, intelligent. I mean, they could change the world, but because they don't look a certain way, they don't get those same opportunities. And I think that's the part, you know, that makes me sad. That's the part that hurts. So I feel sad for those circumstances. So I said a mouthful. I think I gave y'all enough today. If you guys have any questions regarding my weight loss surgery, you want more information about vertical sleeve gastrectomy or the VSG surgery, please you know, ask whatever questions you want down in the comment section below. I'm more than open to answering those questions. If you guys want more video, want a more detailed video about my journey to the DR, my experiences, and that type of thing, feel free to also put that down in the comments below. And also, if you have not subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? I would like for you to do so now. And also, please not only subscribe, I would like for you to comment, I would like for you to rate, and I would absolutely love for you to share this video. That's gonna wrap things up today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.